Spawning up here in the top left-hand corner of the map, we have the blue Terran player from Team Ordo Equitum. Give it up for DreamHack. And his opponent in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, we have the red Terran player from Root Gaming. Give it up for the Brazilian living in America in the Root House. It's Kelazhur. And man, Bazooka Benji, look, let's play a game. When does Fear Dragon shut up and cast a game? I want to cast the game. You have to, I wish people would realize this. Because I am not trying to delay things. I am trying to get into a game. I'm sitting in the lobby waiting for the players to say ready. I'm waiting for them to invite me to the game. Like half the time they're like, oh yeah, like okay, make it on this map. I'm in the lobby. I've made the game on the like WCS mod and everything within a matter of 8 to 10 seconds. If I am feeling downtime, it's because I'm waiting on players. Nobody's waiting on me. Just trust me on this. I want to get into the games as fast as possible because every single game that we cast or every single game that we cover means that suddenly that's more time, like that's more opportunity for more games to be covered. We're filling up the time with more StarCraft, which gives us more time for more StarCraft later on. Maybe gonna hop into like a game 3 of another series that's just finishing up after this if it finishes up quickly. But regardless, let's take a look at this TvT. We do have a double barracks opening coming out from Kelazhur. He is also going for a fairly fast second or not a super fast second Gazer by any means, but it is the double Reaper opening coming out from Kelazhur. He's going to be looking to really pump on that aggression. There is a factory plopping up really quickly over here for DreamHack though. I'm going for the supply depot wall off, but he's going to be in a lot of trouble against the big Reaper opening over here from Kelazhur. Kelazhur's Reaper control is fairly on point. Kelazhur is actually fairly well known for having some pretty good Reaper control. So this is going to be a bit of a scary moment, I think, for DreamHack once he sees not the first Reaper. The first Reaper isn't going to be that revealing. It's the second and third Reaper. The timing for those that are going to alert DreamHack to what he's up against. Now, he can still get out a Hellion. Hellion's actually a really great opportunity or a thing to try and deal with this sort of build, but gotta be very, very careful. Kelazhur taking a bit of damage. He gets his Reaper cornered, and with a second Reaper coming out for DreamHack, he's gonna be able to pick off one of Kelazhur's early Reapers. Kelazhur does equalize the damage, killing off one of his opponent's Reapers. Takes a little bit of damage, but this is going to be healed up. Another Reaper making his way across the map, and ooh, DreamHack is chasing his way across the map very, very far. Might be in a bit of trouble if this Reaper for Kelazhur moves in. Gonna be able to pick off at least a single Reaper. Or sorry, a single SCV. Get a little bit more damage done as the Reaper and Hellion make their way back in. This Reaper is gonna get caught a bit out of position as the the Reaper and Hellion pop out new ones for DreamHack. But Kelazhur has seen everything that's going on. He knows that there is gonna be that starport, and he sees that there is no tech lob on the starport. And there's no reactor or anything on the factory either, so you can probably guess, okay, there's more and more Hellions popping out. There's probably going to be Hellions moving across the map. I've got a bunker and a supply depot. I should be prepared for this. And you should know about the potential for that that Liberator harassment. And Liberator harassment, a bit of an interesting decision just because on this map, there's so much room behind that mineral line that's a bit hard to get into a beautiful spot where it's really, really difficult for the Marines to get a nice angle on the Liberator. The Liberator has to get pretty far into the mineral line or close to the mineral line to really make that kind of Liberator harassment work. But here we go. DreamHack making his way across the map. Marines making their way into a position where maybe either a medevac or the Liberator could be coming in. But Kelazhur has not spotted things out just yet. He gets out a safety cyclone, which I think is a decision I really, really do like. Loses one SCV, but the safety cyclone gets the lock on, and this Liberator going to be a lot of trouble. It looks like it is going to go down, as even the Marines looking for an opportunity to get a little bit more damage done. Cleaned up just a tad bit quicker. 3 workers have gone down, though. 3 of Kelazhur's workers, as it seems like a couple of those Hellions were able to get a little bit of damage done as they moved in the natural expansion. At the same time, DreamHack looking for a drop in the main base, and his army is a bit out of position, but not that far out of position. Kelazhur has more than enough. The Cyclone locks onto the medevac, and he's trying to go for it. He is going to scan. He's going to be able to get it. Takes out not only a handful of those Hellions, but takes out almost everything over there. And Kelazhur Really gonna feel comfortable after that. Sitting at equal worker counts, but definitely has a nice army advantage with the siege tank out. He has the safety cyclone. He has a couple more marines out, a decent chunk more marines out. Is 11-4, and even pushing across the map. The cyclone gonna be able to potentially chase his army across the map. The siege tank is gonna go down. Kelazhur taking some really massive leads. This went from kind of, oh, you know, there's a nice little edge for Kelazhur. He can push across the map and the defender's advantage won't be playing as much of an effect, kind of equals out. To now, Kelazhur is going to move across the map. He's going to have a siege tank lead. He's going to have the Viking leads. He's going to have the air superiority. He still has that cyclone around to try and get lock-ons if he's careful about this. Even moving forward with a single marine to soak up that first shot. The marines moving in, forcing the liftoff over here. DreamHack doing some nice micro, but he loses the siege tank. And Kelazhur, he doesn't have any more marines left over, but he's still got that siege tank left over. He's doing some nice damage. Viking gonna get picked off, so you know DreamHack is gonna equalize over here, but DreamHack does not have a natural expansion. That is the big thing, is that Kelazhur was keeping equal, if not ahead, on a lot of those engagements off of an expansion that DreamHack does not have. And you can see that's starting to pay off as Kelazhur has a 6 worker lead, 39 workers around, and getting up additional units. Has those siege tanks in production, getting up a couple of production facilities, like some of those additional barracks being added on. Even has enough units to spare for the harassment with the siege tank medevac. And what is DreamHack doing? DreamHack is getting up a couple of his own barracks for himself, but that command center is only just now finishing up. Not even an orbital command yet. And he's going to be dealing with a medevac harassment with the siege tank that, oh, Kelazhur has a bit of that air superiority. He does manage to get a pick off on yet another one of DreamHack's siege tanks. That should put him at a 2 siege tank lead. Yeah, 1-3 now. As long as they continue that continuous siege tank production. But now we have a situation where DreamHack needs to find a way to bring himself back in this game. He's got to take some risks. Maybe going for a bit of a hyper-aggressive drop harassment. Maybe trying to go for an earlier 3rd expansion. There are a couple things that you can do. Maybe even trying to skimp on units to get up additional production facilities a bit earlier, but oh, that would not be a decision that would work out too well, as Kelazhur is now making his push out across the map. DreamHack loaded up 2 medevacs of his own, making his drop harassment as a potential for some damage, but Kelazhur doesn't have a lot at home, but neither does DreamHack. DreamHack has a marine and a siege tank back at home. Kelazhur scans this. He's going to see so little. He's going to know, I need to move in as soon as possible. He needs to start moving his units. He's moving his units to the main base. This is so important. And of course, Kelazhur has a bigger army that's doing for this kind of quasi base trade with, so he's going to get the better end of this. Siege tank and the marines unload over here for DreamHack, but it's not quite as much as Kelazhur has. Kelazhur is cleaning out the production facilities. He's already picking off these tech lab. He's going to be killing off any of the units as they pop out. Stim is on the way over here. At the same time, Kelazhur actually has enough marines that he's giving chase to this. GG gets called. Kelazhur going to be taking game number 1 in this best of 3. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be hopping into game number 2 in a little bit, but we're hopping to a short ad break, so I will see you guys in game number 2 in just a matter of minutes. All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to game number 2 in this best of 3 quarterfinals match. We are going to be spawning down here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map on top of the red Terran player from Rude Gaming and setting up a 1-0. Give it up for Kelazhur. And in his opponent, up here in the top left-hand corner of the map, the blue Terran player from Ordo Equitum, still looking for a comeback. Give it up for DreamHack. All right, well, we're at that point where Kelazhur is sort of showing that dominance that he has over the Latin American scene, why he is considered not only the best player in Latin America, maybe only in contention with Major, but just in general, even amongst the North American scene that he's living in, he's considered one of the strongest players in the North American scene, one of the players to beat. So Kelazhur definitely the player to beat for this entire tournament. This is going to be potentially one of DreamHack's few opportunities to actually take the series off of him. If he can do it now and knock Kelazhur into the lose bracket, that would be a massive, massive win. Not only for him, but I'm sure Jim Rising and Sham would thank him for it as well. But Here we go. He's got to make it work. We got a fast factory coming out for both of these players. So Kelazhur not going to go for that double Reaper opening that he went for the last game. It honestly didn't work out that well in the last game. He maybe got a little bit of worker damage done, but ended up suffering a bit of worker damage himself. Was able to get up a nice fast expansion behind it, but that is going to be the big difference. Kelazhur going to be taking a much later expansion in this game as he goes for the 1-1-1 fast opening. And you can see it's the small little edges even where you can see the starport is just a couple of seconds ahead. Just a little bit of extra refinement coming out from Kelazhur. DreamHack definitely not a bad player by any means, but it's those small things that do make a world of difference. When that Reaper comes in a little bit earlier than you're expecting, that Banshee comes out, maybe if you're going for a Banshee play, or, you know, Cloak finishes up a couple of seconds earlier than that missile turret's done, and suddenly the Banshee managed to get 3 or 4 extra kills. It's those small things that make a world of difference at this level. Kelazhur moves across the map, spots out the Reapers from DreamHack, spots out the starport as well. And that's pretty much all the information he really needs to see. Is you would like to maybe see if there was a reactor or a tech lab or something coming down on the barracks. I was going to swap over to the starport. That's some nice information, but considering DreamHack has no information about what Kelazhur is up to, Kelazhur is going to be feeling much better about this. Kelazhur also trying to block off this ramp. I think that he wants to try and make sure DreamHack doesn't get an easy scout out to see that there's no natural expansion. Seeing the Hellions is probably going to be a bit of a reveal, like, hey, wait a second, you went for the 1-1-1 opening, but here we go. DreamHack trying to move on in, and ooh, a nice spread from Kelazhur does allow him to take out quite a few of the units over here for DreamHack without really losing a whole lot. I really like those retreating Reaper grenades from DreamHack, and even picking up all those units, gonna be able to retreat on home. I don't know, actually, there's not very many times that you see a Reaper inside of a medevac, but combat drops does kick in as you end up seeing those Reapers getting healed up on up, but Kelazhur on the opposite of that side of the map, trying to knock down these supply depots. He may be able to get some damage done over there. Liberator in the mix for the defense over here for Kelazhur, but he's losing a couple workers here and there. The Reapers and the Hellions doing some good damage. Kelazhur, on the other hand, may look like he's going to be able to knock down the supply depot and just run on in. The Liberator is over here, but it's not siege up. A siege tank is now out, but Kelazhur already lost 6 workers. The Liberator does magically have a majority of the units. There's 2 Reapers denying mining from Kelazhur. Kelazhur trying to get some damage done on his own, but not quite making it happen. Here we go. The SCVs are all lining up. 8 workers killed so far. 11 workers killed. The Hellions still alive and getting additional damage done. Even though the Hellions do get cleaned up by the siege tank, it's 14 workers killed to, I think, 6. And Kelazhur, at the very end of the day, takes the lead in that by a substantial margin. 17 workers to 23. Kelazhur also has this Banshee that can now move across the map. He was researching Cloak behind all this. And now DreamHack is going to have to afford the missile turrets. That's going to delay his expansion. Oh, this is an awkward spot. DreamHack was doing such a good job, and if he had just gotten some units to repair the supply depot, sure, he would have lost those units, but he would have bought time for the siege tank to make it to actually get out to try and defend that front. And I think that he could have held this, but oh no, now losing the siege tank, now losing additional workers. The Liberator for Kelazhur is probably going to get picked off by this Viking, but now comes in the Banshee that's going to have Cloak. And yeah, missile turret's finished up, but what's going to protect this siege tank? What's going to protect the Marines? What's going to protect the tech lab, these other production facilities? He has to lift up that medevac, and he's going to even have to potentially use a scan over here, as he doesn't have a natural expansion on the way that Kelazhur does. Oh, Kelazhur is taking out 1 Marine at a time. The Viking is the only thing that can do anything. GG gets called. Kelazhur advances on to the semifinals. Big congratulations goes out to Kelazhur. A lot of people were anticipating him to win this, as not just this particular match, but people were anticipating Kelazhur to win the entire damn thing without much competition. Now, I will say, Cham and Jim Rising definitely going to give him some competition. DreamHack maybe giving him a little bit, and oh wow, I've got to say, I've been giving a lot of props to Jim Rising and Cham and Kelazhur and Eric. Jim Rising falling to you by Randa, 2136 in the bracket. I don't really know who that is, but that is a bit of an upset already, knocking Jim Rising. Jim Rising's not out just yet, but it's to 2-0, and Jim Rising goes down to the losers bracket match. Gonna be playing the losers bracket round of 8. I think it's the round 3 of the losers bracket, so that is a fairly interesting turn of events. So Kelazhur are going to go on to play versus Bayrada, and I would love to hop in that series. If the mainstream is already going to be covering that, I may wait around for the results of Jim Rising versus Dominique Klexeria and Eric versus Thunder, who I think will probably be Cham versus Eric. That's my guess, but I'm not entirely sure.